Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Inheritor back with another replay analysis. So this is 2v2 for Munniez. He is a low GC. At least I can assume. He put it as new-ish GC, so I can assume somewhere in the 1500 range. So yeah, I'm going to be pretty nitpicky on this replay, so see what happens here. Good to play it safe, however, you really should have checked to see if your teammate was actually back or not. It's one thing to trust your teammate to be in the appropriate spot, which I understand, but always check and make sure you know where your teammate is. Good pass attempt, your teammate was going back, so kind of unfortunate. Good job not going back for boost. Well done, not going back for boost right here. You really didn't have to rush this challenge. I could understand panicking in the situation, but realistically, the only way you could have gone about this and actually won the 50 is if you had waited, or at least gone a little slower and made it to where you were here on the ball instead of here on the ball. The ball would have just pinched to the corner back this way, and it would have been safe for you, even though you were low boost. Overall, not too big of an issue. Just I would have played it a little slower and tried to get a pinch off of it, given the low boost situation. And I play as a super passive-aggressive player, so, you know, not only do I play basically off of my teammate, but play off of how my teammate plays, but when it comes to me being last man and, you know, you're probably in a 2v1 situation, I wait as long as I possibly can before I actually go for the ball. Obviously, with my play style, since I've always played this way, I already know when I need to challenge and when I don't, given the situation. Plus, I'm really good at reading the situation, especially given my environment. I take into consideration where is the opponent's teammate. Obviously, the person who doesn't have the ball is who I'm referring to. And if they're not close, it's obvious they're not going to be able to really pass unless they backboard it. So that's when I go to how they have it on their car, if it's on their car. And if it's not, what options they have. If it is, what options they have, etc., etc. And this all happens, as you know, in a really, really, really small amount of time. So overall, I don't necessarily disagree with you trying to 50 it that way. I just personally would have gone for a pinch play there because you were the last man and really couldn't afford to 50 it the way that you did. You're sitting pretty far back here. I understand you turning because of what should have been a hit. I just think you could have, as soon as you realized he was missing, turned around and tried to get yourself into the play because it kind of made you late, and it made that ceiling bounce really awkward. Even though ceiling bounces are hard to read, so I understand. Personally, I'm decent at them, so I don't typically have too many issues. No boost. I don't. It was a good idea to challenge there. Unfortunate that his teammate went for the demo. Realistically, if he didn't miss the boost, it probably could have gone differently. Not much you can do about it, though. wasn't necessarily your fault. And the demo, well, that's how everyone plays these days, so... I don't agree with you jumping off the wall. There was no need for that. Looking at this right here, this is before it's even, obviously, before it's even remotely close to the wall. At this point of time, when I'm going up the wall, I'm evaluating the field, the whole field. I know that Reflexalon grabbed that corner boost, so I know he's pretty full on boost. But where he's positioned is what matters. It's obvious Daniel Naps is out of boost, or at least very low on boost, and is more than likely going for that mid left side boost. Your teammate is out or low on boost and is going to go for that mid right side boost right in front of you. So what options do you have here? Yeah, I get your point in trying to beat the opponent to the ball. However, it wasn't worth risking missing the ball like you did. More than likely, because they would see you on the wall, they wouldn't have gone for it regardless. So you literally could have just waited for it to bounce and just blasted it. Even though it might not have turned into a play, it still would have gone differently than you missing. So ultimately, in that situation, take more time to evaluate what's going on before you just quick react. It's not always bad to quick react, but it, in this situation, caused you to miss. Good read. I'm not sure what you were trying to go for here. I don't know if you were trying to get a touch on the ball or if you actually intended on bumping this guy. Because you jumped before you hit it, so, I mean, it could have been either one. I mean, it worked in your favor that you bumped him. I don't play for bumps, so I personally wouldn't have gone for something like that. Good idea challenging there since your teammate was going for boost. But, yet again, because of your poor touch here, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot you could have done with it. The only thing you could have done is not flipped into the ball and just let your car touch it. Because that flip, look, you're already there. You have the momentum, you would have beat him to the ball regardless. That flip blasted it into the wall and gave the opponents the ball. If you would have barely touched it, it probably would have just bounced on the ramp here and either gone up or out, which either which way would have worked better in your favor than just handing it to them by blasting it against the wall. In which case ended up in the opponent getting boost in that midfield left side, demoing your teammate, and, well, obviously getting scored on. So ultimately, the reason you got scored on right here was because you blasted the ball into the wall. Wasn't a whole lot your teammate could have done there. Even if they tried to dodge the demo, probably still would have gotten scored on. Good boost grab. This was poor decision making here. I'm sure you didn't necessarily intend on it popping like that, although it definitely looks like it in this situation. I would have just kept it low and shot it towards the other wall. So instead of going around the ball like this, I would have put myself probably here and tried to send it this way to the wall, because look at where people are positioned. This is what really changes your game, is knowing where people are and what you can do with the ball given that situation. But look at this. Both the opponents are in a line on the same side of the field. If you blast the ball this way towards the wall, you can grab that boost and more than likely still beat them to the ball, depending on how close you keep it to yourself. That's important too. I'm sure you know that, but if you had just taken it towards your wall, or that's opposite wall, and taken it up off the wall and tried to stall for time while your teammate was grabbing boost, you could have tried to make a passing play out of it. But you popped it up, got a poor touch for an air dribble, and wasted all your boost. I'm honestly surprised they didn't challenge you for this, because that was an easy ball possession giveaway. So once again, even though Reflexalon is going for boost, in theory you did leave your teammate once again in a 2v1 situation. And he has no boost. I don't agree with that challenge. That was really, really risky. If Daniel had gotten one good flick over top of you, your Reflexalon would have been up for it already, and you would have been scored on. Good job waiting for your teammate to get a touch. Good read on the play. You knew they were going to hit it to the right, or the left. I mean, kind of a lucky demo there. They were going for a demo on you, so realistically, kind of lucky. Thank you for not going for that boost and going for the ball instead. That was critical. You're still low boost. That was not a touch that was necessary. Once again, evaluate your situation. Reflexalon is completely out of the play right now. Your teammate is on their half of the field, and Daniel more than likely has full boost, or at least enough boost to live off of. And you going for this touch when you really didn't have to, and wasting all of your boost in the process, could have very well ended up in a goal had Daniel gone for it faster. You're way too close to the play right here. As soon as I saw your teammate get that extra touch, even though I'm not sure it was intentional. Well, I mean, it wasn't intentional, obviously, but I don't know if it was a bump on him or if he just got a bad touch. Either way, as soon as I saw it blasting, I would see right here, you had the right idea. It looked like you were going to turn to go back right here, and then you stopped. Why? There was no way you were going to get a decent touch on that. There was no need to pre-jump that. Could have fake challenged and saved a lot of boost. I mean, you didn't use a whole lot, but you could have saved pretty much all of that boost for a fake challenge, which would have been more effective because it would have gone to your teammate. You're sitting... Yep, thank you. I was going to say you were sitting way too far ahead of the play, even though I know you were waiting for a pass. That's really risky. Just one bad touch that leaves an open net. Right here, you really should have, as soon as you turn around right here, you should have had ball cam turned off. Obviously, it still would have been slow, but you could have gotten a view of what else you had around you. Let's look at this. Say you have ball cam turned off. This is approximately your view. It's easy to see. Reflexalon is up, so you need to reposition yourself for a touch, especially knowing your teammate is behind you. Realistically, you should be, well, realistically speaking, your teammate should be in net. However, since you should already know your teammate's behind you, you should be rotating quickly here and waiting to see what happens with the play. But you not turning off your ball cam, you had no idea what was happening. You probably heard that this man Reflexalon went for it, but even still, there was your positioning right now, given your teammate's positioning, isn't great. It doesn't matter if your teammate's positioning sucks. You have to position yourself accordingly based off of your teammate. Because 9 times out of 10, you won't get teammates like myself that will play off of your teammate. They will play how they want to play, and it's best if you just learn to adjust positioning accordingly. So, knowing your teammate's back here, if you were to know that your teammate was back here, you should be repositioning, because there's nothing you can do with this play, especially with the ball being up here. But anyways, back to my point. If you turned off ball cam, you'd know Daniel is way the hell back here. There's nothing you can really do until something happens with Reflexion's touch here. But that goes to my point in, why are you jumping for that? Even if you jumped straight up, there was still no chance you were going to get to that. Luckily, your teammate, read the play decently and repositioned for a potential shot. Thank you for starting to go back. You're playing a little close to your teammate there. Although 9 times out of 10 low boost passes are weak, you should never be that close to your teammate. Good read on the 50 there. Not a lot you could have done there. You were too far. You were really too far away to even jump for that. But I probably would have done the same thing myself, to be quite honest. Good touch. However, good touch, but risky, because if Daniel had gotten a touch on this, you would have been scored on, because your teammate is there. It's really hard to judge. You have to know that you can beat your opponent, which I'm sure you did in this situation, but you have to be really, really careful with challenges like that, because if you miss or if you're too slow and you get beat, you are both on their side of the field and you left a wide open net, which for a lot of people is easy to score. Didn't need to rush that. That's the reason you missed. You jumped off the wall at the right time, but your air roll is what screwed you up for that shot. You did not need to air roll at all. But, yet again, another risky thing, because if you had gotten a really weak touch, even though you missed, if you happened to touch it, you probably, and it was a weak touch, you would have ended up passing it to Daniel, which is pretty much just as bad as whiffing like you did. Your teammate is all the way on their corner, which you can see here, and Daniel and Reflexion are really close to each other, so really, realistically, one good touch towards the backboard, your teammate could have turned for it and scored. Daniel did turn around as you went off the wall, so more than likely nothing would have come of the play, even if you did hit it on the backboard. But realistically, this whole thing was just bad because you rushed it and then tried to air roll at the same time, which you wouldn't have really gotten any benefits out of. If you had gotten this touch, you would have just ended up blasting it to somewhere other than their net. Like right here, this touch would have just sent it over to Super Booma, which is your teammate. However, given the positioning of Daniel, it would have just been a pass to him, and you still would have been in the same situation. Nothing you could really do there unless he had challenged early. Stopping in net is what killed him. But regardless, it more than likely would have ended up a goal. Not quite sure why. You really didn't need to go off the wall for that. There was no way you were getting a decent touch from that far away. I mean, yeah, you got a quote-unquote decent touch, but all you did was pass it to them. And wasted your boost in the process. I'm not sure why your teammate didn't go for that. Realistically, he should have been up for that, and not you. But that's okay. Shouldn't have bothered jumping. As soon as you saw the opponent, you should have known you were going to get beat, and you should have just gone to grab the boost. Once again, left your teammate in a 2v1 situation. And I don't know why it cut off there, but realistically, the biggest things I see is, one, make sure you know where people are on the field at all times, or at least 90% of the time. If you don't know where people are and you don't know what your current situation is around you, you aren't going to be able to make the best prediction you can make given a situation that you don't know. The other thing is stop rushing your shots, or just your touches in general. I'm not saying go slower. I'm saying think about your shots harder when you're going for them. There were several whiffs in your position that shouldn't have happened, and they were... I say whiffs, but I mean, I'm generalizing that into missed touches and whiffs all in one category, because one way or another, it's either a bad touch or it's not a touch at all, which is still bad. So that's kind of where I'm at there. But so when I say take more time, I don't mean move slower. I don't mean slow down your gameplay. I'm just saying think a little harder about how you're going to hit the ball as you're going to hit the ball. And don't make unnecessary movements if you don't need to. When I go for an aerial, I'm doing all sorts of spinny shit, but that's how I aerial. Like, that's what I'm used to doing. And I'm consistent with aerials. It's not very often I miss an aerial. That off-the-wall hit you missed, you wouldn't have missed if you didn't try to do some fancy air roll shit. You would have been better off just blasting it towards their backboard and rotating back. Or at least rotating according to what happened with the play. Yeah, so I mean, I would say the biggest things for you are going to be to make sure that, one, you know where people are on the field most of the game. You should never assume that your teammate is going to be in an appropriate position, because even in high GC, you'll find all sorts of random shit. And it could get you in trouble because they are positioned for what they want to be positioned for. And if you're not playing according to that to make sure you are in the safest position possible, even if you're on offense, you are going to be in a really awkward position for a save, or you're going to get scored on. And then, just put a little more thought behind your touches. Don't just touch the ball to touch the ball. And obviously, I know, like, with your failed air dribble, it wasn't your intention to fail the air dribble. But think about it in a logical sense. What good was that air dribble going to give you? From that angle, there was zero chance you were going to score, especially with such a low amount of boost. The best you could have done is hit it in this corner, and even still, you wouldn't have gotten another touch, more than likely, off of that corner bounce. So ultimately, you still would have ended up giving away the ball. If you had tried to control the ball in a dribble, or gone up the wall, like I was saying earlier, and tried to make a passing play out of it, things could have been way, way different. So just try to think really hard about how you're going to hit the ball before you're going to hit the ball. For what is going to give you the best situational, assuming it goes well, what's going to give you the best outcome is what I'm getting at. And then, like I said, you should just automatically always be checking for teammates and opponents. Because, like I said, if you don't know where people are, you're not going to know how to make a play, the best play you can make it. But that's really the main things. If you have further questions or want further replay analysis, obviously feel free to use the appropriate coaching rooms in my server. I hope this helps you in the long run. And like I said, if you need more help, please feel free to go ahead and use my server. But that's going to be it. So, good luck with your games. Catch you later.